lost his tail.
Hello there, fellow adventurers. This is my first video after moving back to England, and what better way to mark the occasion than to talk about a very British adventure game. Lord Winklebottom Investigates is developed by Cave Monsters, founded by Charlotte Sutherland, who I interviewed back in March 2020 when the game was still in development. Well, now the cave monster has finally been unleashed. In other words, the game was just recently released on Steam, as well as Nintendo Switch and Xbox, but I don't know much about these newfangled consoles. Just give me a top hat, monocle and pipe and I'm good to go, old chap.
Well then, Frumple, that was quite the case, wasn't it?
So here we have the titular character of Lord Winklebottom. And before you ask why his neck is so long, yes, he is a giraffe. Not just any giraffe though, he's a famous detective who's just made the newspaper after cracking his latest case, along with his trusty companion, Dr. Frumple. And before you ask why his mouth is so big, yes, he is indeed a hippo. In fact, all the characters in this game are animals, but before we set out on our next case, we have a very important, life-changing decision to make. As we're making a fresh cup of tea for Frumple, do we put the tea or the milk in first?
Here you are then, a nice fresh cup of tea.
That's much better. I say, this tastes a bit off. Did you put the tea in first or something?
Ah, was that wrong?
Wrong? What sort of animal do you think I am?
A hippo? Alright, let's try it the other way around.
Oh, very well. I suppose this will have to do. Milk first, I ask you.
I guess there's no pleasing some hippos. As far as I know though, how you make the tea has no effect on the story, which revolves around the case of the expired axolotl. Axowhatl?
Axolotl!
This unfortunate axolotl is Admiral Gilfrey, and it's up to us to investigate if he was the victim of foul play or simply reached his expiration date. What makes this case more personal is that Gilfrey and Winklebottom were old school chums.
I say, look at this, old boy. It's Gilfrey and I during our school days. Ah, those were happy times.
Not for me. Couldn't abide school. The other boys used to make fun of my name. Dumple, they'd call me. The rotters.
Frumple obviously had a tough time at school and sounds like he really needs his own doctor to help him get over his traumatic childhood.
Went on a ghastly school trip to Blackpool as a lad. I tried to go for a donkey ride. Donkey was furious. He told me I was too heavy. Wretched fellow.
He's always holding his cup of tea, and I believe it's like a security blanket for him to deal with his insecurities. Despite this, however, Frumple still has his own sense of humour.
I say, Winklebottom, I bet Gilfrey liked this axe a lot. Because he's an axolotl.
Yes, I understand.
He also loves gonging the gong.
I'm not entirely convinced that gong is a verb, but very well if you...
Gong.
You don't actually need to say gong, you know?
Oh, well, I suppose, but where's the fun in that?
As with most other Kickstarter-backed games, several backers make it into the game as well as their pets, and once again the legendary Lake Kubilius makes an appearance. I'm really gonna have to interview that guy and find out if he really looks like a penguin. The characters are brought to life by some very British voice acting.
Oi, do you mind? I've got enough problems what with being shut out of my own pub without having some lanky bleeder like you sticking his nose into my private bedroom.
I playtested the alpha version before most of the dialogue and animations were finished, so it's particularly interesting to see how the game has developed and how the characters have evolved.
Oh, don't worry. I'm used to that sort of reaction.
The voice cast includes Sally Beaumont.
Oh, darlings, you should have seen me in my prime. I did all the greats. Shakespeare, the primates of Penzance, waiting for Doggo.
Natalie Winter.
Anyway, I am very pleased to meet you. I am Madame Lavinia, and I am a spirit medium.
Well, quite.
And the developer's husband, James Sutherland, is both Winklebottom and Frumple.
Gone.
One of my personal favourites is Pumphrey the Gardener's Slug, voiced by Jamie Trinker, who dies in a most hideous but hilarious fashion.
Oh, bloody hell!
There's not really any mature content though, and this game can be enjoyed by all the family. Oh, I say. puzzles aren't terribly difficult, but if you get stuck you can ask Frumple for a hint, though he doesn't really give too much away.
Any ideas, old thing?
We need to see if we can help out Madame Lavinia. We should go talk to her.
Some of the main puzzles include making a diving helmet that will fit a giraffe, and conducting a seance to summon the spirit of expired axolotl Gilfrey. Everything takes place on the Isle of Bargist, which is named after a creature that is rumoured to be terrorising the inhabitants. But to avoid any spoilers, I'll just say that it explains more about why there are only animals and no humans around. Overall, this is a charming game which is a real labour of love, and my only main criticism is that there's only 3 save slots, which for a serial saver like me is not nearly enough. I'd love to see Winklebottom and Frumple take on more cases, just like Nancy Drew or Carol Reed. In the meantime, there's plenty of other games to play featuring animals, such as Chicken Police, Detective Gallo, Inherit the Earth, 9 Noir Lives, which is released next month, Brock the Investigator, which is released this month, Sam and Max, Bad Mojo, Journey of a Roach, Backbone, Black Sad, Freddy Fish, Night in the Woods, Gibbous, which has a talking cat, Jolly Rover, Zoo Adventure, Lost Eden, Dragon History or Draki History in Czech, Ghost of a Tale, Stray, Tiny Tales Heart of the Forest, Snail Trek, Just Barely, Kitten Adventures in City Park, V-Ape Escape, and the Danish edutainment games Skipper and Skido. Oh, and of course Inspector Waffles.
Looks like our dear friend Inspector Culver has solved another case. It seems this was an international case. He was aided by a foreign chap named Inspector Waffles.
I'd rather go for a waffle right now.
Is there any time you couldn't?